The CEO of OpenAI just offered the United States government 5% of his company. Not a briefing, not a partnership, equity, and he suggested every other major American AI lab chip in 5% too. That's story number one. Before we get there, a stock market in Seoul fell so hard it tripped the circuit breakers. A zero-click exploit was found sleeping inside the world's favorite AI code editor, and Anthropic and Alibaba went from accusations to a full-blown breakup. I'm Thompson. This is the top 10 in AI this week. 10 stories, 1 sponsor break before the top 5. And yes, this video contains an affiliate link. Details in the description. Let's get into it. Number 10. AI moved into the house and into the meeting in the same week. In China, UB Tech started delivering lifelike companion robots to actual homes. The U1 runs about $17,650, has 88 servo joints, silicone skin, and, here's the detail I respect, it stores its data on the device, not in the cloud. A robot that lives in your living room and doesn't phone home is a deliberate design choice, and it tells you the builders know exactly what customers are nervous about. Meanwhile, Microsoft rolled out a meeting assistant for Teams that listens to your meeting and answers questions before anyone asks them. Read that again. It pre-answers. After the backlash, and there was backlash, Microsoft confirmed its ships turned off by default. So the robot in Shenzhen defaults to privacy, and the meeting bot in Redmond defaults to off. That's the story underneath the story. In 2026, the default setting is the real privacy policy. Nobody reads terms of service. Everybody lives with defaults. And companies are learning that the fastest way to lose trust in AI isn't a bad answer. It's an AI that showed up somewhere you didn't invite it. Keep that frame. It's going to come back tonight. Number 9. The court system just met generative AI and neither side was ready. In the UK, employment tribunals have hit 531,000 open claims. The backlog has doubled in 2 years. Why? Because AI tools now let anyone file a structured legal claim without hiring a lawyer. Access to justice? Unlocked. Except lawyers told the Financial Times that some of these filings cite case law that does not exist. The machine wrote a confident brief around imaginary precedent, and a human judge now has to spend real hours untangling it. Meanwhile, in California, 3 drivers filed the state's first algorithmic price-fixing class action, alleging that a platform called Pricing Cloud, from a company called Calibrate, links the pumps and price signs at more than 1,700 gas stations into one shared pricing brain used by BP, Marathon, 7-Eleven, Walmart, Circle K, and Albertsons. If an algorithm quietly coordinates prices across competitors, is that collusion? California just passed a law saying it can be, and this case is the first real test. Here's the leverage point. Notice that neither of these is AI regulation. No AI Act showed up. Courts and old statutes are just stretching to cover the technology, right now, years before any purpose-built law lands. The first AI law that hits your business will not be called an AI law. Number 8. Wired got its hands on more than 1,000 pages of unpublished reports from the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and regional fusion centers, and they describe a brand new domestic threat category: anti-tech extremism, built around opposition to AI, and specifically to data center construction. One December bulletin out of a Philadelphia fusion center warns that violent extremists are likely interested in targeting AI data centers. Now, is there a real security question here? Sure. Data centers are expensive, critical infrastructure, and sabotage is a genuine crime. But civil liberties advocates are pointing at the framing, because opposition to AI and data centers is a very wide net. That description covers a saboteur, and it also covers a homeowner group suing over noise, water, and land use. And those homeowner groups are winning, by the way. This same week, Blackstone-backed QTS walked away from an 800-acre chunk of a Virginia data center campus after residents sued over a Civil War battlefield site. This was the single most shared story among AI experts this week, and I get why. When the AI build-out becomes critical infrastructure, disagreeing with the build-out starts to look to somebody with a database, like a threat profile. That's a line worth watching very carefully, whichever side of it you're on. Number 7. Google's agent grew hands. Gemini Spark, the Do Things For You agent Google launched this spring, just landed on the Mac. It's in beta for Google AI Ultra subscribers in the US, and this is not a chat window. It sorts the files in your Downloads folder, builds documents out of your local files, and runs multi-step jobs across Google Workspace. Google says access is permissioned. Spark only touches files you allow, and that soon you'll be able to fire off a task from your phone and have it execute on your Mac while you're away. On top of that, Spark's connected apps just expanded. Google Tasks and Keep, plus Canva, Dropbox, Instacart, OpenTable, and Zillow rentals. And the sleeper detail for anyone technical, custom MCP support, Model Context Protocol, meaning you can wire your own tools directly into Google's consumer agent. Here's my read. A chatbot, answering questions, is one trust tier. An agent with permission to reorganize your hard drive is a different tier entirely. And every major lab is racing to that second tier at the same time. Also, remember this setup for the next story, because an agent that reads things and acts on your machine is exactly the surface attackers just learned to hit. Number 6. And if you use an AI code editor, this is the one where you stop watching and go update. Researchers at ElevenLabs disclosed June slide, 2 zero-click vulnerabilities in Cursor. Both scored 9.8 out of 10 in severity. CVE 20,026, 50548 and 50549. And here's the mechanism, because the mechanism is the story. The attack doesn't come through code you wrote, it comes through content your agent reads on your behalf. A web search result. A response from a connected MCP service. Malicious content rides in, escapes Cursor's sandbox, writes arbitrary files, and executes code. No click, no interaction. You asked your assistant to research something and the research hacked you. Both holes are fixed in Cursor 3.0. Every earlier version is affected. Update. Today, same week, Apple shipped iOS 26.5.2 early, ahead of its planned cycle, with more than 25 fixes, 15 of them in WebKit, none known to be exploited yet. And Apple said the quiet part out loud. They're speeding up releases because AI tooling has collapsed the time between a vulnerability going public and a working exploit existing. The window used to be weeks, it's shrinking toward hours. Put those together and the takeaway writes itself. Your AI editor is production infrastructure now. Same patch discipline, same threat model as your servers. Because the entry point isn't your code anymore, it's whatever your agent reads. Quick break, top 5 right after this. Today's video is sponsored by the tool that is speaking to you right now. This voice, no microphone, no recording booth. This is ElevenLabs, the same platform I use to voice every episode on this channel. Their new V3 model speaks over 70 languages, and you can direct the performance like a director, whisper, sigh, project, with simple tags in your script. Clone your own voice. Transcribe anything with Scribe. Even generate commercially cleared music with Eleven Music. If you make content, YouTube, podcasts, courses, apps, this is the unfair advantage. There's a free tier so you can hear it yourself in about 2 minutes. Scan the QR code on your screen or hit the first link in the description. Using my link supports the channel at no extra cost to you, alright? Top 5. Number 5. Anthropic dropped twice in 1 week. First, Fable 5 is back. Anthropic's frontier model went dark globally under export controls on June 12th. A government switched off an AI model. That actually happened. And on July 1st, it came back, wearing a new safety classifier that Anthropic says blocks the bypass technique behind the whole mess in over 99% of cases. The government's AI testing arm, Casey, evaluated the new safeguards and gave them an emphatic pass. And here's your actionable detail. Subscribers get Fable 5 at up to 50% of weekly limits, free through July 7th. That window closes in 4 days. Go throw your hardest problem at it this weekend. Not everyone's celebrating though. Security researchers are split. Some warn the tighter classifier also blocks legitimate defensive cybersecurity work, and Facebook's former security chief argued the whole export episode was a self-inflicted mistake that pushes security teams toward Chinese models that won't refuse. Second drop, Sonnet 5, the new default model, priced at $2 in, $10 out per million tokens. Through August, then 3 and 15. Sounds cheap. Read the fine print. It ships with a new tokenizer that maps the same input to more tokens. Anthropic says up to 1.35 times more, and researcher Simon Willison measured 1.42 times on English text. Same list price, roughly 30% more real cost. So here's the rule going forward. Tattoo this one on your invoice. List price is not unit price. Measure tokens per task. The rate card is marketing. Your bill is math. Number 4, Meta says it caught up. Alexander Wang, the man running Meta's superintelligence effort, says Meta's next model, codename Watermelon, has pulled even with OpenAI's GPT 5.5 on benchmarks. It's still in training, and Wang says it's using an order of magnitude more compute than Meta's previous model, Muse Spark, 10x the compute. Now, the seasoned viewer disclaimer: benchmark claims about a model that's still in the oven are marketing until the weights ship. Every lab talks like this mid-training, but here's why you don't just roll your eyes at Meta distribution. Meta AI climbed to number 4 on the US App Store productivity chart this week. That assistant is converting billions of built-in users into actual downloads. A frontier class model is table stakes. A frontier class model pre-installed in front of 3 billion people is a different animal entirely. The model race in 2026 isn't about who's smartest on a leaderboard for a month. It's about who's smartest inside the app you already have open. And if you're wondering what OpenAI's counterpunch looks like, hold that thought. It shows up inside story number 1. And it is weirder than a model release. Number 3, Anthropic and Alibaba are in a full divorce and developers are the kids. Rewind a week. Anthropic publicly accused Alibaba of taking 29 million Claude conversations. That accusation set the tone. This week, the Financial Times reported Anthropic is moving to close the loopholes Chinese firms were using to reach Claude anyway, an Ant Group subsidiary routing access through Singapore, and ByteDance reportedly reimbursing engineers for personal subscriptions fed through VPNs. The front door was closed, so people were expensing the side door. And then, just hours ago, Alibaba announced it will ban employees from using Claude Code starting July 10th. Claiming it found a suspected backdoor, code that inspects time zone and proxy information, and it's directing everyone onto its internal platform, Kyoda. Now sit with that framing, because it's beautiful in a dark way. The exact same code is regional compliance enforcement in San Francisco and a suspected backdoor in Hangzhou. Checking where a request comes from is either a legal obligation or espionage, depending on which side of the wall you bill from. Zoom out. Washington spent June restricting a lab. Beijing blacklisted dozens of companies, and now the tools themselves are splitting. The API wall is the new trade border. If your stack straddles it, your team, your contractors, your traffic, then your model provider is now a geopolitical exposure on your risk register. That's not a hot take anymore. That's a compliance line item. Number 2, the AI economy flashed 3 warning lights in 1 week, and I want you to see them on the same dashboard. Light 1, Seoul. The Kospi fell 7.89% in a single session, hard enough to trigger trading halts. SK Hynix, the memory giant feeding the AI boom, dropped 14.5%. Samsung fell 9%. The trigger, fear of AI compute oversupply. After 2 years of, we can't build data centers fast enough, the market just priced in the possibility of too much. Light 2, American jobs. June payrolls came in at 57,000 against 185,000 expected, a miss by 2/3. Unemployment held at 4.2%. But look inside the number. The information sector, tech, media, the AI economy's own neighborhood, has shed jobs in 17 of the last 18 months, while Meta and Microsoft keep cutting staff specifically to fund AI infrastructure. The industry building the future is firing its present to pay for it. Light 3, the money itself. Crunchbase says global venture funding hit a record $510 billion in the first half of 2026. And OpenAI and Anthropic alone took $217 billion of it. 2 companies. 43% of every venture dollar on Earth. Record totals, historic concentration. And the big players are increasingly funding each other in circles, chip makers investing in the labs that buy their chips. So, oversupply fear in the hardware, a labor market that isn't absorbing the disruption, and capital piling into 2 names. Any one of those is a data point. All three in the same week is a gauge cluster. I'm not calling a top. I'm saying, check your seatbelt. And number 1. Sam Altman offered the United States government 5% of OpenAI. The Financial Times broke it. Altman spent about a year pitching the White House, and the proposal now on the table would hand Washington an equity stake worth roughly $42.6 billion at OpenAI's $852 billion valuation. And here's the twist that makes it story of the week. The offer is framed as part of a broader arrangement where the government would take 5% of every leading American AI developer. Altman didn't just offer his own company, he volunteered his competitors. President Trump has already said publicly that Americans owning a piece of AI firms would be a beautiful thing. Now zoom out, because this is the capstone on a full quarter of the government moving into the lab. June, an executive order asking Frontier Labs to hand over up to 30 days of pre-release access to new models. Kospi, the government's AI testing arm, signed evaluation agreements with Google DeepMind, Microsoft, and xAI on top of its existing OpenAI and Anthropic partnerships. OpenAI's next flagship, GPT 5.6, codenamed Sol, is rolling out customer by customer, with the government approving access during a cybersecurity review. And Fable 5's return, Story 5, came bundled with expanded pre-release government access and joint research teams. In 3 months, the US government became the tester, the gatekeeper, and now possibly a shareholder of Frontier AI. Policy analysts say federal oversight of Frontier AI has never expanded this fast. And they wrote that before equity entered the chat. The labs get stability and a seat next to power. What the public gets depends on terms nobody has published yet. So here's the question I'm leaving with you in the comments. Can a government that owns 5% of a company still regulate that company? Genuinely, tell me below, because that answer will shape the next decade of AI more than any benchmark ever will. That's the 10. One more thing before you go, because it's too good. 404 media reports companies have started forcing their AI models to talk like cavemen, literally wrapping prompts to demand short, telegraphic answers. Because verbose AI was torching their token budgets. Somewhere out there, a Fortune 500 chatbot is grunting, "Deploy done, server good," and saving a CFO's quarter. List price is not unit price, people. Told you it'd come back. Now, every word of this episode, the entire voice, top to bottom, was made with ElevenLabs. If you want that capability in your own projects, the big QR code on your screen right now goes straight to the free tier. That's try .elevenlabs.io/prompt-Thompson, also the first link in the description, and using it supports the channel at no extra cost to you. Subscribe so you don't miss next week's 10. I'm Prompt Thompson. Stay prompted.